The alarm bells rang through the massive Zephyrian warship like angry metal birds. Admiral Vexthor's 4 eyes focused on the main screen where 3 dots appeared at the edge of space. His long fingers tapped the control panel as he studied. The readings. "What are those things?" he asked his crew. Lieutenant Zakra looked at her instruments with confusion. "Sir, they appear to be ships, but they are very strange, made of basic metal. No energy shields, no plasma weapons that we can see." The Admiral laughed, a sound like grinding stones. "Scavenger ships, pirates maybe. They will run when they see us." But the 3 ships did not run. They came closer. "Sir," called the weapons officer, "something is wrong with our readings. These ships are moving at 15 times normal gravity. That should crush any living thing inside them." Admiral Vexthor stopped laughing. In 300 years of military service, he had never seen anything move that fast without the best Imperial technology. "These crude metal boxes should not be able to do such things. Send them the standard message," he ordered. "Tell them to surrender, or we will destroy them." The communication officer pressed buttons and sent the message that had made 1,000. Worlds bow down in fear. It was transmitted in every known language. It promised death for those who did not obey. It had never failed to make enemies surrender. Then something impossible happened. The response came back as sounds the computer could not understand at first. When the translation finally worked, it identified the sounds as laughter. Not scared laughter, not nervous laughter. Happy laughter like friends telling jokes. "They are laughing at us?" asked Lieutenant Zakra. Before the Admiral could answer, another message came from the human ships. This time, the translation was clear. "Thanks for the warning, space friends," came a cheerful voice. "We'll be right there. Hope you brought snacks." The bridge fell silent. In the entire history of the Galactic Empire, no one had ever responded to an Imperial threat with such casual friendliness. "Sir," whispered the tactical officer, "what do we do now?" Admiral Vexthor had conquered 40 star systems. He had made entire species bow before Imperial might. But he had no training for this. The Empire's war manual had chapters on defeating enemies, enslaving populations, and crushing rebellions. It had no chapter on what to do when strange beings treated your threats like party invitations. The 3 human ships came closer. They moved in patterns that made no sense. They spun and danced through space like children playing games. Sometimes, they flew so close to each other that they should have crashed, but somehow they never did. "Are they showing off?" asked the weapons officer. "I think so," replied the Admiral. "But I have never seen flying like this." The humans sent another message. "Hey there, we're Captain Sarah Chen, Commander Mike Rodriguez, and Captain Liu Wei. Nice ships you have there, very shiny. We're from Earth. Where are you folks from?" The communication officer looked at Admiral Vexthor with confusion. "Sir, they are asking casual questions, like we are meeting at a marketplace." The Admiral's military mind tried to process this. Were the humans crazy? Were they hiding some terrible weapon? Were they so advanced that they saw Imperial ships as no threat at all? "Scan them again," he ordered. "Find their weapons. Find their shields. Find something that explains this behavior." The scans revealed more impossible things. The human ships had no energy shields, but their metal hulls were incredibly thick and strong. They had no plasma cannons, but they carried devices that looked like construction tools. Most strange of all, the ships were full of repair equipment, spare parts, and what appeared to be games and entertainment devices. "Sir," reported the science officer, "I think these beings travel long distances for fun. Their ships are built for comfort and repair work, not war." "Fun?" repeated the Admiral. "They cross the galaxy for fun?" Another message came from the humans. "We noticed you have a small problem with your left engine core. Nothing serious, but we could fix it if you want. Mike here is great with engine troubles. Fixed our ship 17 times last month." The tactical officer quickly checked their systems. Sir, there is a minor fluctuation in the left engine core. How did they detect that? Our own engineers have not noticed it yet. Admiral Vexthor felt something he had not experienced in decades. Uncertainty. These humans detected problems in Imperial ships better than Imperial sensors. They flew better than Imperial pilots. They treated Imperial threats like friendly conversations. What kind of beings are these? He muttered. The answer came sooner than expected. One of the human ships moved very close to the Imperial flagship. Not close enough to attack, but close enough that everyone could see it clearly through the viewports. The human ship was indeed crude by Imperial standards. It looked like someone had built it in a workshop using basic tools. But it was also clearly built with great care and skill. Every weld was perfect. Every piece fit exactly right. It was simple, but it was strong. A human face appeared on the communication screen. It was Captain Sarah Chen, a middle-aged woman with short dark hair and bright eyes. She wore simple work clothes and had grease on her hands. She smiled like she was greeting old friends. "Hello there," she said warmly. "Sorry if we startled you. We saw your ships and wanted to say hi. We don't see many folks out this way. Are you explorers too?" The Admiral stared at the screen. This human treated his massive warship, his weapons that could destroy cities, his crew trained for conquest, like they were neighbors meeting over a fence. "We are the Imperial fleet," he said slowly. "You are in violation of Imperial space. You must surrender." Captain Chen's smile grew bigger. "Oh, you have space rules. That's smart. We should probably learn about those. But surrender seems a bit extreme for a first meeting, don't you think? How about we just chat for a while instead?" Behind her, the Admiral could see two other humans working on something. They were not preparing weapons or raising shields. They appeared to be making sandwiches. "Are your people eating during this confrontation?" he asked, amazed. "Well, yes," Captain Chen replied. "It's lunchtime. Would you like some? We have excellent bread. Liu makes it from scratch." The Admiral's crew looked at each other in shock. The humans were offering to share food with an Imperial war fleet that had just threatened to destroy them. "I do not understand your species," the Admiral said honestly. "That's okay," Captain Chen replied cheerfully. "We're still figuring ourselves out too. But we've found that most problems get easier to solve when everyone has a full stomach and takes time to talk things through." The Admiral realized that everything he knew about warfare, diplomacy, and first contact had just become useless. These humans operated by completely different rules. Rules that somehow made their impossible behavior seem almost reasonable. He looked at his crew, who were all staring at the screen with the same confused fascination he felt. "Captain Chen," he said carefully, "I think we need to talk." "Excellent," she replied. "Want to come over to our ship? We have better coffee." 3 days later, the great hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with urgent voices. Representatives from 200 worlds gathered in their floating seats, all talking at once. The massive dome above them showed star charts marked with red. Warning symbols. High Arbiter. Keldon struck his ceremonial gong, a sound that could silence armies. The hall went quiet. "We have a crisis," he announced, his voice echoing through the chamber. "Unknown beings have violated Imperial space. They have ignored our warnings. They have made mockery of our laws." A holographic display appeared above the council floor. It showed 3 crude human ships flying past Imperial border markers like they were street signs to ignore. "These beings call themselves humans," continued the High Arbiter. "They come from a world called Earth. They have crossed our territory without permission. Worse, they have done things that should be impossible." The display changed to show Imperial patrol ships. But something was wrong with them. Each ship had strange metal objects attached to their hulls. "They have altered our vessels," said Arbiter Keldon. "Without damage, without violence. Our patrol ships were taken, modified, and returned. The crews reported no harm, but they cannot explain what happened." Senator Yikhtar from the Mining Guild stood up. What kind of modifications? The display zoomed in on one patrol ship. Welded to its side was a metal sculpture of flowers. On another ship, someone had built what looked like a playground for small children, complete with swings and slides. Art, said the High Arbiter grimly. They turned our military vessels into art displays. The council chamber erupted in confused chatter. Senator Blueworth from the Trade Federation raised her hand. Did they steal anything? Did they harm anyone? No, admitted the High Arbiter. In fact, our patrol crews report that their ships run better now. Somehow, while building these decorations, the humans also repaired several mechanical problems we did not know existed. The chamber fell silent again. This was beyond their understanding. The most concerning incident, continued Arbiter Keldon, occurred at Border Station Zeta-7. The display showed a space station orbiting a purple gas giant. Imperial ships surrounded it like protective guardians. The humans approached this heavily defended position. Our commander ordered them to stop. Instead, they sent a small message probe. The display showed a tiny metal cylinder floating toward the station. The probe contained only a simple message. Your coffee maker is broken. Mind if we fix it? Senator Kraldex from the warrior caste stood up, his battle scars visible even in the chamber's soft light. They offered to repair our equipment? Yes. Before anyone could respond, one of their ships somehow got inside our shields, fixed the coffee maker in the station's break room, and left. No alarms were triggered, no weapons were fired. Our security systems never even detected them. The senators looked at each other with growing unease. The station commander tested the coffee maker. The High Arbiter continued. It now produces the best coffee he has ever tasted. He has requested that all stations receive similar repairs. This was too much for the council. Voices rose in argument and confusion. Silence, commanded Arbiter Keldon. We must respond to this threat with strength. I hereby issue the standard Imperial ultimatum to these humans. A new hologram appeared, showing a formal document with the Imperial seal. The humans will surrender immediately. They will submit to Imperial law. They will pay fines equal to the economic output of 12 mining worlds for their violations. They will accept classification as a primitive species under Imperial protection. They have 24 standard hours to comply. Senator Yikhtar raised a concern. What if they refuse? Then we respond with force, replied the High Arbiter coldly. Battlefleet Omega is already moving toward their last known position. The ultimatum was sent through every communication channel in known space. It was transmitted in all galactic languages. It was backed by the threat of the Empire's most powerful fleet. The response came 12 hours later, but it did not come through communication channels. It came floating in space outside the council chambers. An Imperial patrol ship had been gently placed in orbit around the council station. Not crashed into it, not thrown at it. Carefully positioned so everyone could see it clearly. The patrol ship was undamaged. The crew was unharmed. But carved into the hull with precise metalwork was a message in perfect galactic standard. Counteroffer, how about no? Also, your patrol ship's coffee maker was broken, so we fixed it. You're welcome. The humans. Below the message was a small, metal sculpture of a human hand making what the translation computer identified as a thumbs-up gesture. The council chamber erupted into chaos. How did they capture an Imperial patrol ship without anyone noticing? Demanded Senator Blueworth. How did they carve a message into military-grade hull plating? Asked Senator Kraldex. How did they deliver it here without triggering any of our defense systems? Wondered Senator Yikhtar. High Arbiter Keldon studied the reports flowing in from the patrol ship's crew. The captain reported that his ship had been borrowed while his crew slept. They woke up to find themselves in a comfortable waiting room with excellent food, entertainment, and educational materials about human culture. After a few hours, they were politely returned to their ship, which now ran better than ever. "They treat us like children," muttered the High Arbiter. "Sir," interrupted a communication officer, "we have another message from the humans." "What? Do they say now?" The officer looked nervous. "They have invited the entire Galactic Council to a potluck dinner. They say they will bring sandwiches if we bring side dishes." The council chamber fell silent except for the soft humming of the air recycling systems. Senator Yikhtar spoke carefully. "Did they just invite us to lunch?" "Yes, sir. They also included recipes for several human dishes they think we might enjoy." High Arbiter Kel Dawn felt a headache forming behind his eyes. In 3,000 years of Galactic Council history, no one had ever responded to an Imperial ultimatum with dinner invitations. "What kind of beings are these humans?" he asked the chamber. The answer came from an unexpected source. The patrol ship captain, whose vessel had been borrowed and improved, spoke through the communication system. "Permission to speak, High Arbiter?" "Granted." "They are kind, sir. Strange, but kind. They fixed our ship better than our own engineers could. They fed us better than our own cooks do. They treated us like guests, not prisoners. I have fought in 20 campaigns, and I have never met an enemy like this." "Enemy?" asked the High Arbiter. "That is the problem, sir. I do not think they see us as enemies at all. I think they see us as neighbors who simply have not been properly introduced yet." The High Arbiter looked around the chamber at 200 confused faces. The Empire had protocols for conquest, rebellion, trade disputes, and territorial conflicts. It had no protocol for beings who responded to threats with friendship and offers of food. "What do we do now?" asked Senator Blueworth. High Arbiter Kel Dawn realized that 3 days ago, he had been the confident leader of the galaxy's most powerful government. Now he felt like a confused parent trying to understand children who played by rules no adult had ever learned. "I suppose," he said slowly, "we should find out what side dishes go well with sandwiches." Admiral Thexvar stood on the bridge of the Imperial Super-Dreadnought Eternal Conquest, watching the most powerful fleet in galactic history move through space. 200 ships of the line surrounded his flagship, each one capable of turning entire worlds into space dust. "Battlefleet Omega has never failed," he told his officers with pride. "We have crushed the rebellion of the Seven Suns. We have broken the hive mind collective. We have made the machine worlds bow down. These primitive humans will learn to fear Imperial might." His tactical officer, Commander Relthos, studied the sensor readings ahead of them. "Sir, we are approaching the humans' last known position." "Excellent. Prepare all weapons. We will make this quick." But as the fleet dropped out of hyperspace, Admiral Thexvar saw something that made his confidence vanish like smoke. Floating in the void ahead of them was a field of debris, but not the kind of debris that came from battle. This was something much stranger. "What am I looking at?" the Admiral asked. "Sir," replied the science officer, "those appear to be our patrol drones, but they have been modified." The main screen magnified the view. The Imperial drones, each one a sophisticated piece of military technology worth more than some planets, had been completely rebuilt. One drone now looked like a metal flower garden, complete with spinning petals that caught starlight. Another had been turned into what appeared to be playground equipment, with swings and slides welded to its armored hull. "They turned our weapons into art?" whispered Commander Relthos. "And children's toys," added the science officer. "Look at this one." The screen showed another drone that had been converted into what looked like a miniature carousel. Small metal. Horses spun slowly around its central core, powered by the drone's own energy systems. Admiral Thexvar felt his mouth go dry. "How many drones are in this field?" 57, sir. All of our forward reconnaissance units." "Were they destroyed?" "No, sir. They all still function perfectly. Better than before, actually. The humans seem to have improved their power systems while rebuilding them." The Admiral stared at the impossible scene. Each drone had been carefully disassembled, its weapons and surveillance equipment removed, and then rebuilt into something beautiful and harmless. The work was so precise that the drone's original functions remained intact under their new decorations. "Sir," called the communication officer, "incoming transmission." "From where?" "Behind us, sir." The Admiral spun around. On the rear sensors, 3 familiar shapes appeared from behind an asteroid, the same crude human ships that had started all this trouble. "How did they get behind us?" demanded Commander Relthos. "I do not know, sir. They were not there a moment." "Ego." The main screen switched to show the lead human ship. Through its front window, Admiral Thexvar could see 3 figures in simple pressure suits. They were waving at the Imperial fleet like they were greeting friends at a party. The transmission came through clearly. It was the same cheerful woman who had confused Admiral Vexthor days earlier. "Hi there," said Captain Sarah Chen. "I'm back. Hope you folks don't mind what we did with your little spy robots. They looked so sad just floating around watching things. Now they can bring joy to people instead." Admiral Thexvar tried to process this. "You destroyed 57 military drones to make garden decorations?" "Oh, we didn't destroy them," Captain Chen replied. "We just gave them better jobs. That flower one there? It still watches for threats, but now it also provides beautiful decorations for any ships that pass by. The playground one helps entertain children on cargo vessels. Much more useful than just spying on people, don't you think?" Behind Captain Chen, Admiral Thexvar could see the other 2 humans working on something. They appeared to be building another metal sculpture. "You do realize," the Admiral said slowly, "that you are facing the most powerful military force in the galaxy?" "Oh, yes," Captain Chen replied happily. "Very impressive. Your ships are amazing. Such beautiful engineering. Mike here has been studying your engine designs. He thinks he might be able to help you improve your fuel efficiency by about 30%. Commander Relthos whispered urgently, "Sir, our engine efficiency is classified information. How do they know about our fuel consumption rates?" The Admiral ignored him. "Captain Chen, you are criminals. You have violated Imperial law. You have destroyed military property." "Improved military property," she corrected gently. "And I'm not sure about the criminal part. We haven't hurt anyone. We haven't stolen anything. We just made some adjustments to help things work better. You turned weapons into toys." "Well, yes. Toys are more fun than weapons, don't you think?" Admiral Thexvar felt like he was trying to argue with water. Every point he made seemed to flow around Captain Chen's cheerful logic and come out somewhere completely different. "What do you want?" he asked finally. "Want?" Captain Chen looked genuinely puzzled. "We don't really want anything. We're just traveling around meeting new people, fixing things that need fixing. It's what we do." "You fix things?" "Sure. Liu there fixed a broken navigation beacon we found yesterday. Made it work better than new. Mike repaired a damaged cargo ship we met last week. The crew was so happy they cried. And I just finished upgrading the life support systems on an old passenger liner. The people on board said it was the best air they had ever breathed." The Admiral stared at the screen. "You travel around the galaxy repairing things for free?" "Not for free," Captain Chen said. "We get to meet interesting people and see amazing places. That's payment enough." "Commander." Relthos leaned close to the Admiral. "Sir, this could be a trap. They might be scouts for a larger force." Captain Chen apparently heard him. "Oh, there's no trap. We're not scouts. We're just 3 people who like to fix things and explore. Though I should mention, there are probably a few thousand more ships like ours spread across the galaxy by now. Humans love to travel and meet new friends." "A few thousand?" The Admiral's voice cracked. "Maybe more. We're not very good at keeping count. But don't worry, they're all friendly. Well, mostly friendly. Bob can be grumpy before his morning. Coffee, but he's harmless." The Admiral looked at his tactical display. Battle Fleet Omega, the most feared military force in known space, surrounded by art projects made from their own weapons, facing 3 cheerful humans who treated galactic conquest like a neighborhood hobby. "What happens now?" he asked, not sure he wanted to know the answer. "Now?" Captain Chen smiled brighter. "Now we ask if any of your ships need repairs. We noticed that big one there has a slight problem with its artificial gravity generators. Nothing serious, but we could fix it if you want. Might take a day or two, but we promise to be careful." Admiral Thexvar checked his instruments. Sure enough, there was a minor fluctuation in the gravity systems that his own engineers had not detected yet. "How do you know about our internal systems?" "Mike is very good at listening to ships," Captain Chen explained. "He says machines talk if you know how to hear them. Your ship is saying it has a small headache in its gravity generators." The Admiral looked around his bridge at officers trained for war, confused by peace and defeated by kindness. "I need to report this to command," he said weakly. "Of course," Captain Chen replied. "Take your time. We'll be right here working on some new sculptures." "Oh, and Admiral, thanks for keeping our drone art safe. It means a lot to us." As the transmission ended, Admiral Thexvar realized that Battlefleet Omega had just been neutralized not by superior weapons or clever tactics, but by 3 humans, with welding equipment and infinite goodwill. He had no idea how to put that in his report. News traveled fast in the Galactic Empire, but this news traveled like wildfire through a dry forest. Within hours of Admiral Thexvar's confused report, every communication network buzzed with impossible stories about the humans. On the mining world of Kepler 438b, Station Commander Yorgex stared at his morning reports with disbelief. 3 human ships had appeared in his system overnight, not arrived through normal space lanes, not announced their presence through official channels, simply appeared like they had always been there. "Sir," reported his communications officer, "the humans are requesting permission to land." "Did they say why?" "They say they noticed our water purification plant has been having problems. They would like to help fix it." Commander Yorgex laughed bitterly. The water plant had been broken for 6 months. Imperial engineers had tried everything. The best technicians in the galaxy had declared it unfixable. Now 3 strangers in crewed ships claimed they could repair it. "Tell them no," he ordered. "Tell them to leave Imperial space immediately." An hour later, his environmental officer called with excitement. "Sir, you need to see this. The water plant is working perfectly." "That's impossible. The humans never landed." "I know, sir, but the plant is running better than it has in years. Clean water is flowing to every district." Commander Yorgex rushed to the water treatment facility. His engineers stood around looking confused and amazed. The ancient machinery hummed with new life. Every pipe gleamed, every filter worked perfectly. "How?" he asked his chief engineer. "I don't know, sir. We found new parts installed in places we couldn't reach. Advanced components that don't match any known technology. And this note." The engineer handed him a small piece of paper. In neat handwriting, it said, "Your plant needed some love. We hope your people enjoy clean water. The Fix-It humans. P.S. We left some extra filter materials in Storage Room 7. Commander Yorgex found Storage Room 7 packed with water filtration supplies that would last for decades. Similar stories poured in from across the Empire. On the Baab trade station of Vega Prime, humans had mysteriously upgraded the docking systems so ships could load cargo 3 times faster. On the agricultural world of New Harvest, they had repaired weather control satellites that had been broken for generations. On the fortress world of Iron Gate, they had somehow improved the defensive shields while leaving a note that said, "Nice defenses. We made them 40% stronger. Hope you never need to use them." But the most shocking report came from the Imperial capital itself. High Arbiter Keldon received the emergency communication while reviewing battle plans. The caller was General Track Moon, commander of the capital's orbital defense grid. "Sir, we have a situation. What kind of situation? 3 human ships have penetrated our defenses. The High Arbiter went cold. The capital was protected by layers of shields, weapons, and sensors that made it the most secure location in the galaxy. Sound the alarm. Scramble all fighters. Activate the planetary defense matrix. Sir, that's the problem. They're not attacking. They're helping. What? They somehow got into the city's main water treatment center. Our security systems never detected them. They left no trace of entry, but the water supply has been completely upgraded. The High Arbiter felt a familiar headache starting. Upgraded how? The water now tastes better than anything we've ever had. It's cleaner than medical-grade distilled water, and they've installed filtration systems that will work for centuries, without maintenance. Where are they now? We don't know, sir. They vanished as mysteriously as they appeared, but they left something in your private office. High Arbiter Keldon rushed to his office in the council chambers. On his desk sat a small potted plant with a note. Every office needs something green. This one will clean your air and doesn't need much water. We hope it brings you peace. Sarah, Mike, and Lou. The plant was unlike anything in the Galactic Botanical Database. Its leaves seemed to glow with their own soft light, and the air around it smelled like a spring morning. As reports continued flooding in, a pattern emerged. The humans appeared wherever something needed fixing. They never asked permission. They never demanded payment. They never harmed anyone. They simply repaired things and left them better than before. On the industrial world of Factory 7, they had upgraded manufacturing systems to produce goods with zero waste. On the research station of Deep Thought, they had fixed experimental equipment that hadn't worked in decades. On the prison planet of Last Chance, they had somehow improved the rehabilitation programs and left a library full of books about redemption and second chances. Senator Blueworth called an emergency session. We need to understand what these humans want, she announced to the assembled council. They want nothing, replied Senator Yiktar, reading from a growing stack of reports. They fix things. They leave. They ask for nothing in return. No one does that, protested Senator Kraldex. There must be a hidden purpose, a secret plan. If there is, said Senator Yiktar, it's the strangest plan in galactic history. They're making our entire civilization work better. Our infrastructure is more efficient. Our people are happier. Our problems are being solved faster than we can identify them. High Arbiter Keldon studied the reports from his security forces. Every investigation reached the same conclusion. The humans caused no harm and left everything improved. Sir, interrupted a communications officer, we have a general transmission coming from all human ships in Imperial space. Put it through. The familiar face of Captain Sarah Chen appeared on the main screen, but this time she wasn't alone. Behind her stood dozens of other humans, all wearing the same practical work clothes, all smiling the same friendly smile. Hello, everyone, Captain Chen said cheerfully. We've been traveling around your space for a few days now, and we want to say thank you for being so welcoming. We've met so many wonderful people and seen so many amazing places, she gestured to the humans behind her. These are just some of our friends who've been helping out around the galaxy. We've had a great time fixing things and making new friends. High Arbiter Keldon leaned forward. Captain Chen, what do you want from the Empire? Want? She looked genuinely surprised. We don't want anything from you. We're just happy we could help make things work a little better. But why? Why do you help strangers? Why do you repair things for people you don't know? Captain Chen's smile became gentle and warm. Because that's what neighbors do. When you see something broken, you try to fix it. When you meet someone who needs help, you help them. It's not complicated. Senator Blueworth spoke up. But you must want something in return. Payment, resources, territory. Oh, we're getting plenty in return, Captain Chen replied. We're learning about amazing technologies. We're seeing beautiful worlds. We're meeting fascinating people. We're getting the best education in the galaxy just by traveling around and helping out. Senator Kraldex couldn't contain himself. But you're giving us more than you're taking. Are we? Captain Chen looked thoughtful. I don't think so. Every time we fix something, we learn something new. Every person we meet teaches us something valuable. Every world we visit shows us a new way of looking at life. We're getting as much as we're giving, maybe more. The council chamber fell silent as representatives from 200 worlds tried to understand this concept. Finally, High Arbiter Kel Dawn asked the question that everyone was thinking. How many of you are there? Captain Chen's smile grew even, brighter. Oh, that's hard to say. More every day. Earth keeps sending out explorer ships, and we keep meeting other species who want to join us. The galaxy is full of people who love to fix things and help their neighbors. Other species? Sure, we've picked up some really wonderful friends along the way. The Vorthan engineers are amazing with quantum mechanics. The Yildari artists create the most beautiful sculptures. The Nexus farmers grow food that could feed entire worlds. Turns out, lots of people enjoy making things better. High Arbiter Kel Dawn realized that the humans had done something impossible. They had started a movement based not on conquest or profit, but on simple helpfulness, and it was spreading across the galaxy like a gentle revolution. What happens next? He asked. Next? Captain Chen shrugged. We keep traveling, keep fixing things, keep meeting new friends. There's a whole galaxy out there full of amazing people and interesting problems to solve. As the transmission ended, the council sat in stunned silence. The humans had invaded their space, ignored their laws, bypassed their defenses, and infiltrated their most secure facilities. And somehow the galaxy was better for it. 6 months after first contact, Admiral Vex Thor barely recognized his own flagship. What had once been the sterile bridge of an Imperial warship now looked like something between a workshop and a comfortable living room. Human tools hung from specially installed hooks. Colorful charts covered the walls. The smell of fresh coffee filled the air. He found Captain Sarah Chen exactly where he expected to find her, elbow deep in the main computer core, humming what she called classic Earth rock music. Good morning, Sarah, he said, still amazed at how natural those words sounded now. Morning, Vex, she replied cheerfully, using the shortened name that somehow made him feel more comfortable than his full rank and title. Almost done with your navigation upgrade. This baby will be able to plot courses 60% faster when I'm finished. The ship worked fine before, he pointed out, though without any real complaint. It worked, she agreed, but it didn't sing. Now, it will sing. Admiral Vex Thor had learned not to question Sarah's metaphors. When she said machines could sing, she meant they would operate so smoothly that their various systems would harmonize perfectly. He had seen her make it happen dozens of times. Any word from the capital? She asked, pulling herself out of the computer housing. Yes, another formal complaint from the bureaucratic union. They claim your people are putting government efficiency experts out of work. Sarah laughed. Tell them we're happy to teach anyone who wants to learn. Mike started a repair workshop on Station Beta 9 last week. 20 Imperial engineers signed up for his first class. The Admiral shook his head in wonder. The humans had been in Imperial space for half a year, and they had changed everything. Not through conquest or politics, but through simple competence and endless goodwill. Every world they visited worked better afterward. Every system they touched became more efficient. Every person they met seemed happier and more hopeful. It was the strangest invasion in galactic history. Sarah, he said, settling into a chair that had been modified for maximum comfort. Can I ask you something? Always. How do your people do it? How do you make everything work so well? Sarah wiped grease from her hands with a cloth and sat down across from him. I'm not sure what you mean. I mean this. He gestured around the bridge. My ship runs better than it ever has. My crew is happier than I've ever seen them. Our entire patrol route is now a series of friendly stops rather than military checkpoints. How do you make such changes so easily?" Sarah was quiet for a moment, thinking. "Can I tell you about my grandfather?" "Of course. He was a mechanic back on Earth. Fixed cars for a living. When I was little, I used to watch him work. People would bring him machines that were broken, angry, frustrated, and somehow he would not only fix their cars, but he would send them home smiling." She looked around the bridge with obvious affection. "One day I asked him how he did it. He said the secret wasn't in the fixing. It was in the caring." "Caring?" "He said that every machine, every system, every problem was connected to people. Fix the machine with care and you help the people. Help the people with kindness, and they remember that there's good in the universe." Admiral Vexthor considered this. "But you do more than fix machines. You've helped restructure our supply chains, improved our diplomatic protocols, even redesigned our recreational facilities." "Same principle," Sarah replied. "Systems are just big machines made of people instead of parts. Treat the people with respect, understand what they really need, and the whole system works better." A communication alert chimed, interrupting their conversation. The main screen activated to show High Arbiter Kel Dawn calling from the capital. "Admiral Vexthor," the High Arbiter began, then paused. "Is that Captain Chen working on your bridge systems again?" "Hello, Kel," Sarah called out, waving from her position near the computer core. "Almost finished with the navigation upgrade." The High Arbiter sighed, but Admiral Vexthor noticed it was a fond sigh rather than a frustrated one. "Captain Chen, the Emperor wants to speak with you." "Oh, good. I've been hoping to meet him." Mike found some interesting improvements for the Palace Water Gardens. That's actually why he wants to speak with you. Your friend Mike apparently redesigned the entire palace ecosystem overnight. The Emperor woke up to find his private gardens producing food, purifying air, and generating enough renewable energy to power half the capital. Sarah looked pleased. "Mike does excellent work. Did the Emperor like it?" He declared it the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Then he asked me to arrange this meeting. Admiral Vexthor watched the exchange with amazement. 6 months ago, an unauthorized modification to imperial property would have meant execution. Now the Emperor wanted to thank the people responsible. "There's more," continued the High Arbiter. "The Emperor has decided to make an announcement. He wants the entire galaxy to hear it." The screen expanded to show the great throne room of the Imperial Palace. The Emperor himself sat on the golden throne that had intimidated rulers for millennia. But somehow, surrounded by Mike's beautiful garden modifications, he looked more like a wise grandfather than a galactic dictator. "Citizens of the galaxy," the Emperor began, his voice carried to every world in the Empire. "6 months ago, we encountered a species called humans. We saw them as invaders, lawbreakers, threats to imperial order." The Emperor stood and walked among the flowering vines that now decorated his throne room. "We were wrong. The humans did not invade our territory. They adopted it. They did not break our laws. They showed us how our laws could work better. They did not threaten imperial order. They improved it." Admiral Vexthor felt a strange emotion building in his chest, something he had not experienced in decades of military service. "Hope. Today," continued the Emperor, "I issue a new decree to all worlds, all species, all peoples of the galaxy. The humans shall no longer be considered outsiders or visitors. They are now recognized as citizens of the galaxy, with all rights and privileges that entails." Sarah gasped softly, her eyes bright with unshed tears. "Furthermore," the Emperor continued, "any being, regardless of species or origin, who follows the human example of helpful service to their neighbors shall receive the same recognition. Let it be known that the greatest honor our empire can bestow is not military victory or commercial success, but the simple act of making life better for others." The transmission continued with formal details, but Admiral Vexthor stopped listening. He watched Sarah, who was quietly crying happy tears, while simultaneously continuing to work on his ship's computer systems. "So," he said gently, "you got what you wanted after all." "Did we?" Sarah asked, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. "Acceptance, recognition, citizenship in the greatest empire in galactic history." Sarah smiled, but she shook her head. "That's not what we wanted, Vex. That's not what we came here for." "Then what did you want?" She gestured around the bridge, where his crew worked alongside human engineers, sharing techniques and stories. She pointed to the view screen where other ships in their patrol fleet could be seen, all of them improved, all of them running smoothly. "We wanted neighbors," she said simply. "We wanted friends. We wanted to be part of something bigger than ourselves." Admiral Vexthor looked around his bridge with new eyes. Human tools hung next to Imperial equipment. Earth music played softly, alongside Zephyrian meditation chants. Species that had never met before worked together like old friends. "You know," he said, "I think you got exactly what you wanted." Sarah's smile lit up the bridge. "Yeah, I think we did." Outside the viewport, the stars looked the same as they always had, but Admiral Vexthor knew that everything had changed. The galaxy was still vast. It was still full of countless worlds and countless peoples. But now, it felt like home. And somehow, 3 humans with welding equipment and infinite optimism had made that possible. The Emperor's final words echoed through the ship's communication system. "Let it be recorded in galactic history that when the humans arrived, we issued demands, and they laughed, and the galaxy laughed with them, and everything was better." Admiral Vexthor looked at Sarah, who was already back to work, humming her Earth songs while making his ship sing. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For what?" she asked. "For showing us how to be neighbors?" Sarah's smile could have powered a small star. "Any time, Vex. That's what neighbors do."